Kia ora and welcome to a new video from NZ Pocket Guide. Today we're going to go over all our best tips if you're planning to stay in motels in New Zealand. So if that sounds like you, listen up, and without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing to address is what is the difference between motels and hotels. So the main difference that we have found between motels and hotels is the fact that most motel units will include some sort of kitchenette or kitchen in their units, allowing you to cook small meals such as breakfast, lunch or dinner. This will help you save a lot of money when traveling in New Zealand because, well, eating out for every single meal can definitely add up and definitely increase the bill. The other thing that most motels have as a difference to hotels is that most of them will include parking. That's kind of what the M stands for. It's for motor hotel, like car hotel basically. So the fact that parking is included can be quite valuable when traveling in New Zealand, especially when it comes down to the main cities such as Auckland, Christchurch and Queenstown, where the parking situation is quite dire and nobody frankly wants to be looking around for parking when just landing in New Zealand, for instance. So many, not all, but many motels usually include parking there. One tip that I want to give you for sure is that if you are planning to travel in New Zealand during the public holidays here in New Zealand, and we do have plenty of information on which are the public holidays as well as the school holidays in New Zealand on nzpocketguide.com. Also, if you're planning to arrive in one of the big cities when there is a big rugby game or a concert, you will want to book motels quite early because they are usually an accommodation of choice for the Kiwis, which are, as we know, locals usually travel much more on the cheap than what travelers usually want to do. So if you're planning on trying to score some cheap-ish accommodation during those times, you may want to consider booking really early. Now the next thing that I have for you is to double check the location of your motel. I've said that quite often, but if a motel is called the Waterfall Motels, it absolutely does not mean that it is the closest motel or accommodation for that matter to that said landmark. And quite often they actually are really far from there. So make sure that you check that little fact right here before you book it, and thinking that you can just stroll away and make your way to said landmark at any time during your stay there. It's a mistake that a lot of travelers tend to do. The next thing that I want to address is your expectations. When staying in motels in New Zealand, you have to expect a lower level of service than what you usually would get in a hotel. There is much less room service and services in general. So do be aware that a lot of motels will offer a little lower level of service, but that said, it compensates with lower prices and they're still usually really welcoming. Another tip that I have for you is to book through OTAs. So OTAs is a general term for all your booking.coms, Expedia and other services as such. And OTAs tend to offer a great addition to your booking, which is the fact that you have a uniform cancellation policies. A lot of motel owners are a little bit old school and have very, let's say strict cancellation policies. While booking through all the OTAs, you will be subject to the cancellation policies, of that said OTA and not the one of the motel. So this will help you in case you have to make some last-minute changes to your trip. So it's always a tip that we basically live by, to be quite honest. And finally, I just want to give you another option if you're planning on traveling in New Zealand on the cheap, and that is hostels. Hostels in New Zealand are absolutely fabulous. There is a wide range of quality of hostels all around New Zealand, and they all offer private room that will give you similar services than what you will get in a motel. But on top of that, they have a gigantic shared kitchen. Pretty much all of them have very large shared kitchen, allowing you to cook meals, sometimes even better meals than what you usually are able to cook in the small kitchenette in a motel unit. So yeah, that's just another option to add to your list of things to consider. All right, so that's everything that I have for you today. I wish you the best time ever in New Zealand, and check out nzpocketguide.com for more info.